Mr. Cage's thought of the day: refrain from being a firefighter. Fires is representative of problems. We're going to discuss it. And this conversation is going to lead us to a pathway of peace internally, less stress, less mental confusion. And in addition, the people that's going to be affected by this adjustment: friends, family, loved ones, colleagues, employees, business partners. It's going to help everybody realize their full potential, because real eyes realize full potential. I got a couple of statements I want to share with you, family. First statement is this: sometimes we have to put out fires, and then sometimes we got to let fires burn. In a literal sense, every time the siren goes off, the firefighters leave or the ambulance leaves, because that symbolic or lets them know that there's an emergency. We don't know where we headed to. We don't know what the circumstance is going to be. Lives probably will need to be saved. But capital BUT underscore highlight exclamation point. In a personal interaction, one person's emergency is not the other person's emergency. Sometimes individuals feel, FEEL, that this is an emergency because of them operating from a place of immaturity. Normally, when a baby cries, an infant, the parent is always there in the child's infancy. But hopefully, as they grow chronologically and in a place of maturity, that safety and comfort and the skill set that has been imparted will internalize, and the infant, don't need the parent as much as they used to when they were younger. From a personal growth and development sense, that arrested development sometimes does not allow individual to be able to stand firm internally and identify an emergency as something that can be resolved internally. So every time the siren goes off, we don't have to run to the fire. Sometimes we need to sit back and take a position, a posture of chill, and allow things to play out and allow the circumstances to evolve. Sometimes we want to evolve or unfold. Sometimes we want to go and unfold it for ourselves. No, let's exercise patience and allow that situation to evolve the way it's supposed to go, not the way we want them to go. So, so we talked about sometimes we have to put out fires, and sometimes we have to let fires burn out. We talked about everything is not an emergency. Sometimes we identify emergencies because of our immaturity. As the people that individuals are dependent on us to help them, as we talked about in the last video, sometimes me helping an individual, sometimes us helping somebody is not doing anything. We think at times that helping is always being there. No, sometimes helping is I'm there, but I'm not in it. I'm not feeding into that, jumping into that, because it's a time where that person needs to be isolated to internalize what this experience really means and be able to resolve the conflict internally. Last point, and I'm gonna close my notebook on this because we touched on everything that we need to touch on. Listen, y'all, sometimes people start their own fires. Oh, sometimes people start their own fires because they need attention. Not attention, like a 10 spot, attention. When the alarm goes off, I need help. That's true, but that help doesn't necessarily have to come from me. Sometimes we start our own fires. It's called self-affliction. It's called self-sabotage. And there is little to nothing that I could do to help you if you're starting your own fire. If you start your own fire, you're responsible for putting it out. If you start your own fire, so you say this to your family in a nice, respectful way. Hey, if you start your own fire, I'm not gonna come put it out. That's not an emergency to me. That's something that you started. You know, in business, we talk about the self-starters, the go-getters. Sometimes we can be self-starters in our conflict. And in order for that conflict to resolve, in order for that fire to be put out that that person started, it has to be put out from the inside out. There's a renewal of the mindset that that individual or group of people have to experience to refrain from being a fire starter. The most that we can do in that situation is pray for that individual and give them wisdom when necessary. But I'm telling you, refrain from being a firefighter. It's not your position to put out every person's fire or people's fire on a consistent basis. That is going to handicap you in your growth and maturity because it's a sign of control. And it's also going to handicap the people or person that you in relationship with because it never gives them a sense of independence where they can rely on the source internally within them to come up with the answer. It keeps them dependent on you. It keeps them in a place of arrested development, and it will wear very thin. I can't say soon, but in whatever time that it does, it's going to be a lot of maintenance. Refrain from putting out fires.